Good day. Welcome to another video. We are continuing with functions, specifically doing a question on inverse functions. So question 6 here, we're given f of x being equals to 1 over 4x squared, where the domain of the graph is such that it's on the negative x-axis. Okay, so and then they say determine the equation of the inverse graph. So 6.1, we start with our f of x being equals to 1 over 4 x squared, right? And then from this, our inverse graph, basically we know that the first one, it was what? Y 1 over 4 x squared, right? And then we have to swap x and y. Okay, so yeah, we therefore have x being equals to 1 over 4 y squared. Okay, of which from this we basically now have 4x when you multiply both sides by 4, and then here we're just gonna have y squared, right? And then square root both sides, then we end up with y being equals to plus minus square root of 4x. Okay, of which, remember that I hope you can be able to visualize it too on the xy plane. Remember that for the graph, for this graph right here, right, they said it is on the negative domain, right? And we know that the graph that we just derived here, for us to end up with the inverse graph, we know that it is basically something like this, right? Okay, but then which arm are we gonna pick? We're gonna pick the lower arm, as we know that these two are a pair, right? About the y is equals to x line. Okay, so here this means what? Basically our inverse graph is basically gonna be equals to what? Negative square root 4x, of which here we know that we basically have negative y values, right? So I hope that makes sense. And then 6.2, okay, 6.2, they say on the same system of axes, sketch the graph f and its inverse, indicate clearly the intercept with the axis, as well as another point on the graph of each of f and the opposite. Okay, so here okay, let's sketch our graph on our xy plane. Okay, so let's begin with the one that we are basically given. Okay, 1 over 4x squared. Yeah, so for this one, it's something like this. Get the graph of f, right? But the point that I propose that for x we use 2. Okay, since 2 is gonna, when you say 1 over 4 times 4, basically we're gonna get 1, right? Yeah, so basically we have to use negative 2 instead of 2. So here, should we use negative 2, right, for x, we're gonna end up with what? We're gonna end up with negative 2 is to 1, right? Since a quarter times 4 is gonna give us 1. So in that regard, what then is gonna become the respective value on the inverse graph? Here we're gonna end up with what? We know that we swap the two values, so we basically have 1 is to negative 2. Okay, so yeah, this is basically the points on f and its inverse. And then they also say indicate clearly the intercept with the axis. Okay, the intercept with the axis, I think here we might just wanna show 0 is to 0, right? Which is why they both intercept the x and y axis. Okay, So yeah, I believe we're done. Okay, and then now let's move to 6.3. Okay, 6.3, where they ask that is the inverse function, is the inverse graph a function? Give reason for your answer. So yes, it is a function. And why is this the case? I know in the previous video I used a different reason, but now we can just say vertical line test. Vertical line test passes. Right? In what sense? Okay, I'm just gonna come here to this graph. When we have a vertical line, right, we can see that the vertical line basically touches one point on the graph, right, which is this point. Even if we were to have another vertical line here, it only touches one point. So the vertical line test passes, right? Then yeah, that's the end of the video. Kindly stay tuned to watch more videos where I'll be solving hyperbolas. Thank you.